Okay guys, welcome back to Photoshop CC course. This is our last and final lesson of this beginner's course. We're going to cover the last little bits of what is possible with the basic tools in Photoshop. Keep in mind, we really haven't gone into anything super advanced. There are a couple of advanced things that we have talked about, but your learning can only continue from here, and it's really worth it to keep learning how Photoshop works. So I encourage you to continue to follow the blog and the YouTube channel for more posts and videos on how you can improve your skills. Okay, but yes, this is the last video for the beginner course that is listed on my blog. All right, so in this video we will be covering blending modes and filters. Okay, so let's just open up this picture real quick. And I'm going to explain what I'm talking about when I'm talking about in this photograph. We're specifically just going to cover filters. Okay, so filters are up here in this drop down, and you're going to want to go to Filter Gallery. Okay, go to Filter Gallery. These filters are right here. You can drop down all of these little panels, and right now I'm selected on this diffused glow filter, but you can click through any of these to give a really nice look to your photograph. Literally, there are so many of these filters in Photoshop, and you can get more off the internet, but these are the ones that it comes with. And basically how it works is you pick it and you use these sliders to make it look like you want on any of these filters. The ones that I use the most, I use diffused glow a ton, and cutout is actually a really nice filter if you're trying to make a poster, like a poster board look. But just to show you a quick example of how this works, we will just simply drag these sliders, and you can see how we can get a pretty nice little postcard effect with this filter. You can just control these sliders. Want it to look kind of simple. Okay, and when we're good with that, we just click OK, and the filter will be applied. Okay, and that is how we do it. Now, something I recommend, if you right click, if you right click on the layer, you can always turn any layer into a smart object. What does a smart object do? Well, smart object protects your layer from being destroyed. It's a non-destructive way to edit your photos. If you put smart objects on your photos, it will not let you erase them. It won't let you do certain things to them. So smart objects are a great way to work, especially when you're working with filters. Okay, and you can use those at any point. I will be doing videos on more in depth on smart objects. They'll be posted on my blog, so keep an eye out for those. Okay, so that is the basics of filters in the filter gallery. They all work pretty similar. Something to note, though, however, and let me use this diffuse glow as an example. So I'm going to come up here to filter gallery, and I'm going to go to distort and diffuse glow. Okay, and let's just tone this down just a tad. Okay, we can give this a nice glow. Now this is a white glow. Okay, sometimes people get a little confused. They'll come into filter, they'll go to their filter gallery, and they'll have this like black look on their glow. And there's a couple of other filters that will do the same thing. That is because I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel. our background color is black right here. All right, and our foreground color is white. We want to make sure that's not the case. We need white to be in the background color. And so to do that, we can just hit the X button on our keyboard and that will switch that for us. Or you can just push this little elbow and that will switch it. But we want white to be the background color. Now when we come in and go to our filter gallery, it'll be a nice white diffused glow. Okay, we can apply that change and it looks kind of nice. All right, so I'm going to go back actually to the cutout though. Okay, because I want to show you a couple things you can do with blending options, and these are another thing that I'm just not going to go super into depth on, but I'll show you what they are and how they work and what they can do for you, how they can improve some of the things you may be trying to make. So let's add some text here. I'm just going to put let's see. This is a very small text. Very large text, pardon me. Okay. Oh, my mouse is frozen a little bit. Okay. So I have this little whoops. I spelled this. And we can put a little. Now we can change the font. You can watch the text and type video again if you have any questions on how to work this. But what I want to really focus on is the settings over here on the layer. And you can do this with text, you can do it with images, you can do it with really anything. But we're going to go and work on some of these layer styles, okay? These blending options. I want you to pay attention to what happens to the text when I mess with some of this, with some of these check marks. If I go to bevel and emboss, and you can't really see it super good. Let me hurry and cancel out of this and zoom in a little bit on the text so you can see what's going on a little better. Now, to get to that layer, you can either right click and go up to blending options, or you can just double click in this gray area over here, and that will also get you here. And you can just check these and you'll see how it just kind of rounds off those edges. Okay, so pay close attention to what happens. Here it is before, after, all right? Now you can control all the different settings of it over here. And you need to make sure that if you want to control the settings for that rounding, that you actually have that selected instead of just checked. Now we can come over here and change just how much they're rounded. You can use these sliders to get the exact result you're looking for. Okay. I will have a video going through each one of these in detail that you'll be able to watch if you're interested in that, but it won't be in this video. Okay, let's move on to stroke. Okay, you can go through and change anything with stroke, the texture. Honestly, the ones that you are going to probably like the most are the bevel and emboss. And I really love this drop shadow here. And that basically makes it look like it's popping off the page a little bit. And something nice about this, we can come down here, we can move this drop shadow with the move tool. So it looks like it's a little further off the page. We can move it anywhere we want, really. Let's just move it about right here. And we can change the opacity of it, make it super dark, super light. The distance, okay, just like that. Spread, and the size. Okay, so I think you're getting the idea of kind of how this works. Once you're done, you just click OK. And now look at that. It just really kind of adds a little bit to this image, and we can do a lot of fun stuff with these effects. Okay. We can collapse that just like that with this little drop down over here so that we don't have all those. You can turn them on and off right here. And that's about all there is to that we're going to cover on that in this lesson. Okay. Now, let's be done with this image. I want to show you some stuff with another image, and let's take a look at some blending options. Okay, so I'm going to open this image and this image. Let's open those in Photoshop CC. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do here, I'm actually going to go ahead and create a new document, and this would load. We can name this over here. Let's call it, let's just call it, we'll call it girl. This is fine. I'm fine with that. All of this is fine. Let's go ahead and create it. Okay, now I actually want to get this selection of this girl over into my girl document. Okay. So we are going to get our quick selection tool, make the brush a little bigger using our bracket key, our right bracket key, and I'm just going to highlight her. Okay, just like this, and make my bracket or my brush a little smaller. Okay, and I am going to use the select and mask that we discussed in our selecting lesson to just refine this a little bit. I'm just going to go around the hair. Go around the hair. Keep in mind, this isn't going to work as good as it will on a white background because the background doesn't have as much contrast. So if you have an image that you can use with a white background, that is the better way to go. But we'll just go ahead and add these little hairs in. Okay. Just like this. And then I actually want to get rid of this background in here. So I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of that, just like that. Get rid of that in there. Okay, get rid of this in here. I don't want any of this. Okay, and good enough for right now. All right, and remember, we want to decontaminate those colors so we don't get any blur. And you can actually see that happen in our selection. If you look at that, it's a pretty big difference. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit OK. We have this selection right here. It's not perfect, doesn't need to be for what we're doing. And we are just going to click and drag this right up here into this new document. Use our free transform tool to resize it. Okay. Just like this. And double click. Okay. Now, what we want to do here, now that we have her just simply selected, we can go through and we can clean this up a little bit. We have a mask attached, so I can use my black paint to go in and kind of clean this up a little bit. Just like that. I can clean it up anywhere else it needs to be cleaned up. Looks like the nose may need a little bit. And we can refine that as much as we need, but that's gonna be good enough for me right now. All right. Now, let's take this image, and if we hit Command A, that will select the entire image. Command C will copy it, and Command V will paste it. All right, and then let's use the free transform tool here as well. I want to get this just a little bigger, right about right there. Okay, and that is good enough. And so what I want to do here is I want to copy, I want to put a layer mask on this, and I want to copy this mask to this mask. So we're gonna hold Option, click, and drag. And it's gonna say replace layer mask, and we're gonna say yes. Okay? Now let me just do that one more time, all right? So you know, we're going to click on this mask, which is already made, and we are going to hold the Option key, click on it, and drag it up to this mask, okay? And hit yes, and now we have an outline of this girl with the picture in the background. Now let's come up to the picture, and let's just go ahead and I want to reduce the opacity just a tad so that we can see the girl. Okay, I want to be able to see the girl a little bit, and I actually want to see her facial features just a little bit better, so I'm going to zoom in here. We can select this mask here and use black paint to uncover her face a little bit. However, I don't want it to be super hard. I want to use a soft brush, so let's just hold Control and Option, go up, make that a little softer, okay, and then we want the opacity of this brush to be down maybe 80%. Let's just get it right there to 80%. We can just uncover that just a tad. Okay, and we can make this brush a little bigger and uncover a little bit of her hair. Okay, and again, we can really mess around with the opacity here and uncover a little bit more of her arm. Whatever you want to do to make it look a little better. But what we're going to do now, we're going to apply a blending mode to this picture, okay? Because it still doesn't look super great. So how do we do a blending mode? Well, this little bar, this little drop down right here, are all of the blending modes that we have in Photoshop, and they do some pretty cool things. All these blending modes do things that different and unique, and you can just mess around with them to see which ones you like the most. But you can pick any of these blending modes to blend it in with the photo, the image that is just underneath it. Unless I think I want to just go ahead and hit hard light for right now. So this photo is being blended with the image underneath it, with the girl image, okay? And that's how blending modes work. I'm going to show you one more example with blending modes, yes, that is about how we do that. Okay, so there are things we can do to make this look better. I just wanted to show you the general idea of what we're doing there. I briefly went over in one of my earlier videos this example. We're going to do it one more time just so you can see exactly how it works. We're going to open this with Photoshop, these two images, the rose and the dewdrops. This, I think, demonstrates blending pretty good. All right, and so what we're going to do is we're going to take this image, copy it, so Control A, Control C, and then come over here, Control V. And now we can go in and we just want to resize this just a little bit. Let me just zoom out so we can resize this. All right. Remember, Control 0 or Command 0 will bring you to full size. We can double click to get our free transform, to close out our free transform. And now we are good to blend. So with this selected, we can just come up here and select any of these different blending modes. And look at how nicely that does that for us. We go to lighten, screen, dodge, linear dodge, lighter color, overlay, soft light, hard light, vivid light, linear light. Any of these will work. And they just blend these images together, okay? There's a lot of things we can do to make this look better, but the idea is that this little section right here are dark blending options. These ones are light blending options, and these ones are midtones, okay? I actually kind of like this hard light. I really like this vivid light for this image. Look at how nicely that did that. We can come in here and we can adjust some of the levels just by hitting Command L or Control L if you're using a PC, and we can make it a little darker, adjust the midtones a little bit, click OK, and voila. It's very easy to blend images in Photoshop, not hard at all. Guys, there are a lot of things you can do in Photoshop, and although we haven't done a lot of projects together, I have taught you a lot of skills. It may not seem like a ton, but you know most of the basics at this point. Enough to be able to do most projects pretty, you'd be able to work through a lot of projects. Now, if you don't know how a certain project would work, follow my blog, follow my YouTube channel, subscribe. I'm going to be posting projects, tips, videos on specifics, advanced videos, videos for intermediate Photoshop users. Guys, there's a lot to learn in this program, and as you practice and try things on your own, you're going to learn more than me teaching you could ever be for you, okay? I would encourage you to go to either, if you have a camera, go take some pictures, start editing yourself. Go to pixabay.com, pexels.com. These are free stock image websites. They have a lot of free images that you can use, and they're high resolution images that you can practice on. It's been a lot of fun making these videos and teaching these lessons for you. I hope that if you have questions, you'll hit me up in the forums or in the comments. And let's learn Photoshop. Keep up with Pixel Pirate, and we will give you as much information as we possibly can. Thank you so much for taking the course. Hope to see you around.